Welcome to English Literature for Everyone. Today I'll start with the Jean-Paul Sartre's essay, Existentialism and Human Emotion. It is part of Lucknow University's MA English Semester 2 syllabus. Now, if you want me to cover more such content related to English literature, please follow my channel, like and subscribe for more. Before we start with the essay, it is important for us to know who Jean-Paul Sartre was. Jean-Paul Sartre was a French philosopher and a playwright, and his theory of existentialism was very popular in mid 20th century. It was right after World War II. Now, a little bit about Sartre. He was part of French army. The Germans defeated France in World War II. He became prisoner of war, and he basically presented existentialism as a solution to the Nazi regime, right? Based on his experiences and people he met, he advocated this theory of free will and rationality. Another thing about Sartre is that he was against colonialism and discrimination of people from third world countries, which is why he refused the Nobel Prize in literature, because he said that the Nobel community had a bias against people who were not from Western Europe. Now, little bit about this essay, a brief background. So, this essay was initially a lecture that was given by Sartre in 1945, and a year later it was published. As I stated earlier, it was a solution to the Nazi regime. Basically, he presented this essay, this philosophy, as a forewarning. You could say that by following critical thinking, by following logical thinking, by following morally conscious choices, people would avoid the mistakes that they did back in World War II. Okay, and then he says that free will is not just about doing what you want, but it is also about taking accountability of your own actions. So, in this particular essay, he will discuss what existentialism is, what humanism is, and along with that, he will give certain keywords and certain definitions that are very important from the exam's point of view. Now, let's start with the explanation of this particular essay. So, Sartre opens his essay by defending the accusations that were held against existentialism, right? So existentialism means that a person is free and responsible for their own choices. There's no destiny, no God, no fate that is responsible for his or her decision. Whatever they do, whatever they think, whatever they believe in, it is based on their own personal experience, their own philosophy, their own thinking, right? So there were certain criticisms that were posed against existentialism, and Sartre first of all addresses them, and then as he defends these positions, he also explains us the real meaning of existentialism. So the first criticism was laid by communists, which stated that the existentialism is an action averse philosophy, right? Averse means something that is very theoretical, something that does not have a practical application in our life. So this is what the communists have said about it. Other than that, they have also accused existentialism to be purely subjective, that like it depends from person to person. It is not a universal human experience. This is what they accuse existentialism to be. For Christians, they accuse existentialism to be pessimist, something very negative in nature. Other than that, they also said that existentialism promotes individualism that goes against the God given moral laws. What do they mean by that? Is that if people start doing whatever they want, then they might commit some very bad acts, some very bad crimes, right? So, this is not a good thing in general for society. So, this is what they accuse existentialism to be. Now, Sartre starts defending existentialism, and first of all, he says that the critics of the existentialisms are real pessimists because they cannot accept reality as it is. Right? He says that existentialism promotes free will choices, it promotes logical thinking, it promotes rationality. People see the things as they are and they do make their own conscious choices, and then they do their thing. But if they start blaming their choices on God, on supernatural. That is more of an ill thing for society. Okay, so he accuses the critics of existentialism, stating that they avoid real life and blame bad things to fate. Okay, and and by doing all of these things, they are avoiding their moral responsibilities. And this particular act of avoiding their own accountability and blaming things on something else, this avoidance, Sartre defines it as bad faith. Now, there are certain terms that Sartre has used in this essay that I've highlighted with underline. Please make sure that you mention it in your answer because it is very relevant to the theory. Okay. Now moving on to this particular quote. So in this particular quote, existence precede essence. So Sartre says that first of all, comparing or relating it with certain destiny is pointless because humans were created first and then they create their own destiny, right? Then they create their own life purpose and their goals and their achievements. Unlike objects, he takes the example of a knife, and he states that before knife was created, its use was identified, right? First, people thought of that, okay, we need a sharp object to cut something, and then they created knife. So the destined task was decided first and then the knife was manufactured. However, in case of humans, we are created first and then our purpose is defined. And also our purpose is not same. It differs from person to person. Two people cannot have a same goal or same attitude towards life, right? This is what Sartre talks about in this. Sartre defines subjectivity. Okay, so subjectivity means power to choose to define oneself. Now, how we think about ourselves, how we define ourselves is a very individual choice. If I think that violence is sometimes okay and sometimes we should defend ourselves, then automatically I'll turn someone who is a violent person, who has violent tendencies, who likes to fight, right? On the other hand, if I'm pacifist, if I say that fighting is not a solution, we should discuss things, then I'll eventually become a person who avoids fight, who tries to diffuse situation. So basically, Sartre says that what we think of ourselves and whatever choices that we make somehow defines us. Now, there's another quote that I've added. Man is indeed a project that has a subjective existence. So, what does Sati mean by this particular quote? So, whatever we consume, whatever media we consume, whatever type of people we meet, all in all of these influence our mind, influence our thought process, influence our ideas, right? And what we think of ourselves, we eventually become that. If I think that I'm very brave, if I think that I'm very smart, I'll eventually exhibit those qualities. I'll eventually exhibit those confidence. But if I think the opposite of that, if I think that, okay, I'm not very good at my job, I'm not very smart, I will eventually lack confidence to express myself, right? So, the idea of what we think of ourselves eventually makes us into that person. This is what this entire quote is all about. Now, there are certain terms that Sartre has used in this particular essay to describe certain things. The first term is anguish. So, Sartre says that whenever someone does not take accountability of their own actions, they do not take responsibility of their own action, they suffer from anguish, they suffer from pain. He gives example of Abraham who sacrificed his own son at the request of God. Now, in the story in the Bible, Abraham hears the voice of God in his head, who asks him to sacrifice his son to God for the greater good, right? So Sartre says that Abraham could have chosen to believe that it was his hallucination, it was not actually God's voice. Or he could have also chosen to believe that maybe it is the work of devil or it is work of some other supernatural entity, right? But Abraham chose to believe that the voice inside his head was God's voice, right? So it was a conscious choice whether or not people see it that way. It was a conscious choice that Abraham took. He believed that the voice was of God, and then he did his thing. Now, the another term is abandonment, and basically Sartre says that the God does not exist and we should bear the responsibility of our own actions, right? The realization that we are responsible for our own actions is, and the God has basically, he does not exist, he has abandoned us, is the meaning of the term abandonment. And he says that as soon as people realize that they have been abandoned, they would make an active conscious choice, take good decisions, right? They would not look somewhere else to blame their problems. They will try to solve their problems. And in order to further elaborate this concept, he gives us example of two people make under passion or sign. Okay, it is important to know that in both of these example, people still make individual choice. They just associate their individual choice with either passion or sign. So the first example we have of a student who was supposed to go to World War II to fight for his country, but he also had a sick mother at home, right? And now this particular soldier has to make a conscious choice. He has to make a sound choice whether he should attend his ill mother or he should fight for the liberation of his country. Now, the student will not look at the universe for a sign or will pray to God. He has to create his own solution in order to make a decision, right? And now we have another example of sign. So, Sartre talks about a man that he met during his prison time, where he was a clergyman, and he stated that since he did not find success in the secular world, basically in the world of trade and outside the church, he decided to become a clergyman. Now, Sartre says that if you are not successful at one particular trade, you could have chosen another. For example, if I'm not a successful writer, I could have chosen to do carpentry, or I could have chosen to become a teacher, right? There were multiple options for this young man to follow, but he consciously decided to join the church. It was his conscious decision because of which he is a clergyman. Now, another term that I would like to discuss is despair. Despair is when people look at their problem realistically without thinking that it would eventually work out, right? So instead of holding on to hope that whatever happens happens for a reason, or whatever happens will eventually get sorted out, people should look at their problem as it is and try to be practical. They should either hold on to it if they can, or they should let go. They should not think that things will eventually work out. Okay. And now Sartre addresses the first criticism, which is of communists, that existentialism cannot be universal. And Sartre says that's true because it is an individual choice. People make decisions based on their own experience, based on their own values, based on their own thinking. They cannot have same a thought process. Yes, there are few things that all people would agree with, some very basic universal or moral codes, but not everyone will have entirely same choices. Now, this is an important quote that I think you should either mention or you should understand what it means. I must confine myself to what I see. Basically, Sartre says that whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you witness is the truth. Other than that, anything else is not. Essentially he talks about people who are blind in their faith, right? He states that people should not be idealistic. They should rely on good and sound reasoning before they believe in something. For example, if you remember, one of the criticisms of communist people were is very individualistic in nature, right? So Sartre says that I should not join your cause because you are asking me to. I should join your cause because I think that it is good for society. As a person, I should make my own decision whether whatever you are saying is good or not. I cannot join something out of guilt, or I cannot join something out of faith. I have to be conscious of what I promote or what I believe in. The coward, as we present him, is guilty of his cowardice. Now, he basically says that the critics of the existentialism often blame their wrongdoings or their wrong choices or their crimes on external forces, on things that people have no control of. For example, supernatural forces, God, or a particular system that is very difficult to control, not under people's control, right? So he basically, again, targets critics for not being upfront about their reality, of not being accountable about their choices. Now, there's the term intersubjectivity. We have understood what subjectivity is. Intersubjectivity is when I define myself. Basically, someone defines their existence based on others, on how others perceive him, right? A good example for this would be like, for example, if I'm surrounded with good people, I'm surrounded by with people who encourage me, somehow I will feel good about myself, right? If I surround myself with very pessimist people who are always complaining, always crying over one thing or another, I will eventually believe that the world is not a fair place. It is not a good place, right? So this is what Sartre says, that the people we surround ourselves with more or less will influence how we think about the world, how we think of ourselves. Now, there are two terms. I'm introducing it right here, but it is very relevant in the later stages of this lesson. So, the first is human nature. Human nature means something that is fixed, something people inherently have, and it defines them. Meanwhile, human condition is a situation that people often find themselves in. Okay, now we come on to the criticism that was given by Christians about existentialism. So now Sartre addresses them and says that Christians are saying that people will make bad choices, people will do whatever they want. But Sartre says that people still have a choice to not do bad activities, right? For example, if I see a wallet has lost their wallet, right, and it has money in it, it is my choice to give it to a proper authority, to police or to lost and found, whatever I could, to help that person, right? Not choosing to do a bad thing is also a choice. This is what Sartre says. And he says that people who make bad choice often lie to themselves. Basically, let's say if I'm doing something bad, right? For example, I'm stealing that money in that wallet, and I tell myself that I'm doing this because I need money. So Sartre says that this particular action that I'm doing is done in bad faith. I'm not honest to myself. If I really needed money, I could have gotten a job. I could have asked my parents. I could have asked for help, right? But I decided to steal someone. I decided to rob someone in order to fulfill my expenditures. So I'm doing something in bad faith. I'm not honest about why I could have said that I'm very greedy, but I did not do that. I blamed everything on my expenditures. Now, Sartre also points out that people should not judge others based on whether they fulfill their moral duties or not, because moral duties are human made, right? They change as the time progresses. Because if you remember a long time ago, divorce was considered to be a very bad thing. It was not considered to be a good thing. But now it is a common thing. It is not something like it is legally acceptable. It is happening around us. So moral duty or moral code is very variable and it changes with time. The only thing that you should judge someone is whether or not they deny someone of their free will. If I can dictate your own your actions or your ideas, I am not a good person, right? Because I'm restricting your free will. So this is what Sartre says, that judgment should be reserved for people who restrict or deny others of their free will. Now, in order to explain us the meaning of good individual choice versus the one done in bad faith, Sartre takes examples from few of the characters from the literature. The first one is Maggie from The Mill of the Floss by George Eliot. And basically, he tells us that she makes a informed choice, a conscious choice, and she leaves the man she loves because he's already engaged, right? Since she cannot have a future with him, she decides to leave him. So this is a good choice because here there's a solid reasoning or very logical reasoning that Maggie takes. Likewise, another character, La Sansevierina from the Charter House of Parma, she decides to pursue a passionate relationship while risking her reputation, right? She wants something, she goes after it, and she is aware of the consequences that will follow. So again, she's also taking decision based on logical thinking. Both of these women take decision in good faith, and they are aware of the consequences. They are aware of the accountability that they should take in order to pursue choices. On contrast, Sartre also gives example of people who act in bad faith. So he gives an example of a woman who loves a man, she likes the man, but she thinks that since she cannot have him, she decides to give up. Okay. Now, Sati says that this is not a good uh, reasoning, right? She should at least pursue him. She should at least ask him out. She should at least know what that man likes. Because up until now, whatever reason she is stating, it is all in her head. Maybe that man likes her. Maybe the problems that they are encountering, they can eventually overcome that, right? But she decides to give up. So this is not a very logical reason to do that. This is what Sate says. Another example he gives of a woman who pursues passionate relationship, like the another character Sansevierina, but only to satisfy herself sexually. Now he says that this particular character tries to escape from the consequences of her actions, right? She could have pursued this passionate relationship in her own marriage or with her own lover, but but she decides to go outside in her paradigm, right? And she's only doing this to satisfy herself sexually. She does not have a very concrete reason as to why she's not able to do it in her current relationship. So, by these two examples, Sartre says that people sometimes avoid their own accountability and try to blame their problems on circumstances, that things are not working out for me, things might not work out for me, etc. And by doing so, they are not very authentic towards themselves. Now, Sartre confronts a final criticism that is against existentialism. And he says that if people will make their own belief, if people will make their own morals, then they will not be taken seriously. Now, Sartre says that all the moral codes that we have today, all the rules that we have in our society, all of them are human made. People have created them. We are just following them, right? And eventually a person's life matters when they make actions, when they make choices that add value to their relationship, that add value towards their goals, right? So anything that they do which helps them cultivate good relationship, which helps them cultivate meaningful relationship or meaningful goals will eventually matter. So their choices should be based on what they believe is true for themselves, for their own relationship, for their own goals, not what others think of it. And Sartre says that life should be full of meaningful things, and people create those meanings through their choices. So they should have independence, they should have free will to make those choices, to make those decisions. Now, Sartre here explains the uh, relationship between humanism and existentialism, right? So he says that humanism can mean either two things based on whatever we have seen before. Either humans are valuable. Now, particular conclusion does not sit well with Sartre. He says that this is illogical because humans are constantly evolving, right? And there is no abilities or accomplishment or purposes that could illustrate that uh, the whole humankind is one and they have certain value to it, right? People make their own values, their own choices, their own meanings as they go in their life. And as we progress as human society, we see our past differently, we see our future differently. So this particular sentence that humans are valuable might not sit well with that. The second thing that humanism can mean is that humanism is universal human condition. Now, if you remember, I've already talked about what human condition is. Human condition is something that people face, it is a fundamental situation that people often find themselves in, right? And he says that people make choices based on the goals that they want to achieve, based on the values that they want in their life. They want to create something meaningful of their existence. So the second statement, humanism is universal human condition, this is what Sartre agrees with. He says that people often look to make choices, often look to create ideas or goals that will make them valuable in their existence. So humanism is existentialism, as it is grounded in the shared human condition. As we understand, humanism means that adding value to our life through our actions, through our ideas, we add values to our life. Now, existentialism means that we make conscious choices, we make good, rational choices. So, by making good, rational choices, by handpicking good ideas, we add value to our life, which is why humanism is existentialism. Now, this is the last slide, and Sartre basically concludes his essay by stating that up till now, whatever he has discussed, it is essentially conclusion of events from an atheist point of view. In case you don't know what an atheist is someone who denies the existence of God. And he says that existentialism is somewhat a conclusion of things based from an atheist point of view. And he says that he does not believe in the existence of God, not because he thinks that he does not exist, the God does not exist, but because he thinks that even if he existed, even if the God existed, he would not change anything or rescue anyone from the human conditions. Right? People will still be as they are. They will still be as they have been. So conscious choice and good decision and rational thinking is the only way we can uplift ourselves and we can create meaningful connections and meaningful impact in our life. This is what ultimately Sartre talks about. Now, this is the end of our class. In case you like my video, please like and share. And if you want me to cover any other essay or any other novel or poetry or drama in detail, please let me know in the comments.